So when I speak to people and they say things like, we're afraid of buying a home, I understand why they're saying it, because inflation is not going away. But if you are feeling financial pain now, inflation is getting worse. Don't ignore that pain. The cost of living is getting much worse. If you're afraid that Florida is going to go underwater, don't move here. That would be ridiculous. Taxes are going, property taxes are going to go higher, but I could certainly make a case for why anybody buying a home is crazy. Insurance is going to go higher. During the last market crash, most folks who are paralyzed by the fear, everything is going to go higher. Your income is going to stay the same, or go away, or go down. Are you secure in your finances, in your income? Sometimes it's no. If the answer is no, don't buy the home. Have any real financial pain? There's a lot of folks out there that are in financial pain, that are being squeezed out of their lifestyle. Could you afford the mortgage payment? South Florida is huge. So I'm talking about, and inflation's insane. Everyone's going broke. Nobody's buying houses. You got to be crazy if you're thinking about doing so. The amount of homes for sale has skyrocketed. I'm talking about Boynton Beach, Delray Beach, Boca Raton, surrounding markets. And it is true. There are a lot more homes that are sitting on the market unsold. There's a lot more inventory. But I know people are in pain. I know people are suffering. I know agents are out there failing out of the business. The market has simply, at least from an inventory perspective, at some point, there will be people that are squeezed out of their homes. After watching the State of the Union last night, I have no idea what's going to happen. After listening to Big Papa Powell pivot all over the place over the last year about what he intends to do with the Fed funds rates, I have no idea what he's going to do. So anybody who's telling you that they do know what's going to happen is completely full of crap. Hello everyone and welcome. You're watching Chris Igoe. Thanks for tuning in. Hit the thumbs up. It really helps the channel. I've gotten so many phone calls over the last few weeks and I wanted to make a video about it because many folks that I speak to have an incredibly distorted picture of what the real estate market really is here in South Florida. Now, South Florida is huge, so I'm talking about very specific markets. I'm talking about Boynton Beach, Delray Beach, Boca Raton, surrounding markets. And it is true, there are a lot more homes that are sitting on the market unsold. There's a lot more inventory. If I wanted to be over the top, I could say that the amount of homes for sale has skyrocketed. And it has, relative to the last few years. But the reality is, the market has simply, at least from an inventory perspective, gone back to where it was pre-pandemic. And that's the truth. And it's also true, there's a lot of folks out there that are in financial pain, that are being squeezed out of their lifestyle. And inflation's insane. Everyone's going broke. Nobody's buying houses. You got to be crazy if you're thinking about doing so. And yet, I'm walking past a home which is being built, which is incredible. Really nice home. And I don't suspect that the people who are building that home have any real financial pain. There's lots of different folks that are out there in the market. So what I share isn't necessarily going to apply to everyone. That would be ridiculous. But I know people are in pain. I know people are suffering. I know agents are out there failing out of the business across the board. And no, I'm not one of them. The perception is not really the reality in terms of what's actually happening in the market. Now, different markets trade differently. There is lots of different market dynamics that exist. And my job is simply to ensure you know what's actually happening. Because some of these phone calls that I received this past week were extremely misguided. And not that they have bad information, but the information that they have is extremely distorted. So when I speak to people and they talk about the half-price home theory, which at some point won't be theory, at some point there will be people that are squeezed out of their homes, just like the last time. But we're nowhere near that yet. Doesn't mean it won't happen. After watching the State of the Union last night, I have no idea what's going to happen. After listening to Big Papa Powell pivot all over the place over the last year about what he intends to do with the Fed funds rates, I have no idea what he's going to do. So anybody who's telling you that they do know what's going to happen is completely full of crap. Nobody knows. So when I speak to people and they say things like, we're afraid of buying a home, I understand why they're saying it, but I ask them very simple questions. If you bought the home and the home which you intend to live in, which you intend to max out, which you intend to enjoy the utility or the usefulness of, you're going to live in it. Well, if the house went to zero the day after you bought it, which is impossible, but let's play pretend. If that actually did happen, well, could you afford the mortgage payment? And the answer was yes. Okay. Are you secure in your finances, in your income? If the answer is yes, which sometimes the answer is yes when I speak to people, sometimes it's no. If the answer is no, don't buy the home, period. And maybe you'll get a better deal in the future, and maybe you won't. But what I've experienced is that most folks who are paralyzed by the fear simply don't live their best lives and regret not having pulled the trigger. And it's one of the reasons why I make some of the content that I do, because there's lots of folks out there that are painting a distorted picture, which is actually hurting people who I speak to. So I don't have a grudge against anybody. I want to ensure you know what's actually happening. And I'm killing two birds with one stone. I'm out on a walk. So we're doing a little bit of a walk and talk. And you know that I love to get my best. However, I spoke to some people this week and they're concerned about the market, which you should be. Of course you should know what's going on. And I don't know if that just recorded, but I just got my split pace of my walk. There's a guy cutting his own grass, smoking a cigar. Looks like he's enjoying himself. But some of the things I hear, nice couple wants to move, nice family wants to move here from another country, and they've selectively been very smart. They've rented in many different markets. They've experienced many different areas of Florida, and they figured out where they'd like to be, which is great. I've done tons of content on the channel if you want to learn about other areas, and if you're interested in learning more, then check out my free relocation guide. It's linked down below. But they asked me if I'm familiar with Meredith Wright, or Melody Wright. Of course. And I'm familiar with every other person out there making content about real estate and the economy and the markets. Of course I know who they are. Of course I listen to what they say. And I've also learned there were lots of gurus and experts, from experience I've learned this, during the last market crash, that all had very strong opinions about what was going to happen. And all of them were wrong. And I don't want to devolve this into a analysis paralysis or doom and fear tirade, but I could certainly make a case for why anybody buying a home is crazy. I can also make the case that anybody not buying a home is crazy. I can also make the argument that anybody not selling a home right now is crazy. And every other variation of who's crazy, who's not. All of it is nonsense. It's only about what's right for you. And anyhow, I went on to speaking to this nice family. And one of the things they asked me was, how do I feel about the algae situation in Lake Okeechobee? And so I'm not a scientist. I have no clue about the algae situation in Lake Okeechobee. But if these are the things that you are concerned about when buying a home, then check with the scientist. Don't check with me. I don't know anything about that. I don't have an opinion on that. If you're afraid of algae, don't move there. If you're afraid that Florida's going to go underwater, don't move here. If you're afraid you're going to go broke, don't buy a home. If you're secure and know what you want and can afford to do so, then by all means, do what's right for you. But in the interim, the market has, at least from an inventory perspective, gone back to what feels like normal to me. And maybe that will worsen, maybe that will improve. Time will tell. I don't know. But if you are feeling financial pain now, don't ignore that pain, because if you need to sell, you need to do it now, because chances are your financial pain is not going to get any better. The market may go up, the real estate market may go up, the real estate market may explode upward. There may be a reverse market crash. I don't know. I hope that doesn't happen. I suspect it will. But what I can absolutely say is that your financial pain is not likely to go away unless you have a plan to make more income. If you don't have that plan, if making more money is not part of your solution, well then you will be forced to sell. And there's going to be lots of folks who are in that position, even if the market goes bananas, because inflation is not going away. Inflation is getting worse. The cost of living is getting much worse. Property taxes are going to go higher. Insurance is going to go higher. Everything is going to go higher. Your income is going to stay the same, or go away, or go down. If you can't make more money, then you need to be honest with where you're at and really make a hard decision. Are you better off cashing in while you can, or not? I don't know. I have no way of knowing that. What I do believe is that the free state of Florida is the best option for most folks who are living here, is the best option for most folks who want to have a certain standard of living, that want to feel protected in many ways because of the freedoms that exist here. They don't want their kids learning certain things that they're learning in other places. They don't want to be taxed insanely for things they don't believe in, policies they don't believe in, programs they don't believe in. They don't want to do the things that are happening or pay for the things that are happening in other places. And so what do we see? A massive surge of people continuing wanting to live here. And I don't see that going away anytime soon. So the market will go up, the market will go down. And it will always be a good market for someone. Real estate will always trade. And that's really it. So if you must move to Florida, then please reach out. If you must buy or sell in Boynton Beach, in Southeast Palm Beach County, really anywhere in Florida, please reach out. Go to my website now, igohomegroup.com. We will connect right away. We will ensure, if you're selling, that we find the one buyer on planet Earth willing to pay more than anybody else. And I read your comments. That's not by insanely underpricing it. It's by pricing it the right way, marketing it the right way, creating a market within a market, which ensures we get multiple offers that bid the price higher. And you have all the leverage. It's not rocket science, it's at all. But most of the creators that I see who give blanket information, which is not right, have no clue how to do that, period. Separately, we do business completely differently than anybody else out there, and we will find your dream home, your dream lifestyle, negotiate the best deal possible. So if anything, any of that is relevant to you, reach out now, igohomegroup.com. Thanks for watching. Smash the thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. I look forward to seeing you on my next video.